You're welcome, Axial. I fixed all your mistakes. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. Today we're taking a look at the UMG 10 6x6, or the UMG 6x6 as Axial likes to call it. This is a long truck. There is no two ways about it. 18-inch wheelbase, extended with a nice set of frame rails, modular third axle, and is a very cool truck. I really enjoyed driving it around and playing with it in its stock form, but there was something very sorely missing from the UMG 6x6, and that's portal axles. If you're going to put a Unimog style body on an Axial 6x6, it should have portals. Only because the real things do, and accuracy is kind of fun. With all of that in mind, I did take some time and do some custom work thanks to my friend Dan at Beef Tubes and my friends at RC 4-Wheel Drive to make an Axial SCX-10-2 AR44 with portal axle. And it wasn't easy, but I didn't have to do much of the hard work. It was all thanks to Dan from Beef Tubes for doing essentially the heavy lifting. It all started with a conversation. I asked him if he thought it was possible to use a Beef Tube style axle and make it work with the pass-through axle and the last rear axle that Axial makes for the 6x6. There are a lot of differences between those two axles from a standard rear axle that had to be thought about when they were redesigning. And especially if I'm going to do what I'm doing, it really needed to be something that Dan took over. I didn't have the skills to make this happen. And hopefully it's something that he's going to offer to others, so you can go ahead and purchase your own set of portal axle capable axles from Beef Tubes. Essentially, what he's done is, and he does this on all of his Beef Tubes equipped axles, he actually recreates the spline or the output of the axle to basically sheath that whole axle with the brass tube on the inside and give you a nice mounting point for all of the kit standard C-hubs and knuckles and everything that will go on a kit axle. Because these were originally not a kit axle, they were an RTR axle, so they're all one piece, there was definitely a few challenges extra in creating this sort of hybrid portal configuration. Dan was certainly up to the challenge though, and presented me with a whole new set of rear and mid axles for this 6x6 that will accept all the portal bits. He also modified the front axle, although you could buy an off-the-shelf kit axle and do the exact same conversion up front. Not much different there. It's just the two rear axles that are only available in RTR format, so they needed to be changed. He did an excellent job. It's very clean. You wouldn't really be able to tell that there's anything significantly different on these axles. It all just kind of looks almost stock. And because they're Beef Tubes equipped, they are going to handle a lot more abuse than a stock axle would. Dan has been making Beef Tubes for, I can't tell you how long, all the way back to the SCX-10, the original. He's been making these great pieces. He's also responsible for a lot of other parts that will modify, add weight down low, and generally just make a stronger axle. So we'll definitely put a link down below to where you can check out his store. It's definitely worth a look if you haven't seen it before. And my thanks again, of course, to Dan for doing all of this custom work. It's not cheap, and it probably isn't all of that efficient to do one-offs, but it was really cool of him to handle that process and to do such a great job on it. So thank you, Dan. Because I'm using those stock housings and only modifying them slightly to accept the splined portal box from RC 4-Wheel Drive, all the links and everything just mounts right back up where they're supposed to go. Not a lot of actual modification required. It's very much a bolt-on, plug and play, and you're ready to go. And because this UMG 6x6 was an RTR to begin with, I'm not changing out any of the electronics or the transmission or the steering or anything else for that matter until any of it breaks, because that's the best upgrade path, is to upgrade the things that break in the order in which you break them, rather than putting something new on and then breaking something else. I'm still waiting for Axial to release the add-on third axle as an actual kit that you can buy separately from the RTR. I think it would be a great piece to have It would be really cool to see people convert more of their existing SCX-10.2s to a 6x6 format. And because I wanted this to be a portal axle truck, the only way to go currently to make this portal axle and keep the AR44 width is to go with the RC four-wheel drive portal boxes. These are designed specifically for the AR44 kit style axle, but because I've made the modifications here to the RTR axles, they bolt up without any trouble. Everything you need is included in the RC four-wheel drive portal box kit. I will put a link down below to where you can pick those up. It definitely adds a lot more scale accuracy to a UMG 6x6 to do this conversion. It's something that I talked about and wanted to do for a long time. I've got Vanquish portals on the UMG 10, so it just made sense to do something like that here. It is a really great setup though, really happy that I did it, and can't wait to actually take it outside. You know, this is the biggest struggle for me as a Canadian. I have like 5.5, 6 months of winter every year. And I don't really like going outside in it very often. And in fact, I don't like getting my trucks filthy, muddy, dirty, snowy, and rusty. That's not really my bag, baby. We're gonna have to wait a little while to actually test drive this 6x6 in the portal box format, but like any good project, it's not really done anyway. I've got a lot more coming up. One of those things is changing out the body. I think it's a great looking body. I like the dimensions of it. I like the four-door cab. I think it's a really nice, solid looking truck. But have I ever been one to keep anything stock? I don't think there's a single truck in this collection that is stock in like a ready-to-run format. Most of them are broken, but thanks to my good friend Richard, also known as Pardon My Noob, he built me this really great Cherokee body, which is obviously longer than a standard one. Yes, that's a 6x6 Cherokee, and this actually does exist in real life, believe it or not. Oh snap! As wacky as it might be, people have actually done this conversion. Whether they were on portals or not, I don't know. But hey, why not go for it? You can see he did a really fantastic job of putting this together. And look at that, he even puts a little plaque in the bottom of the truck showing that he made this and when he made it. That's pretty cool. And makes it a collector's item, because I'm pretty sure there aren't many of these floating around. Anyway, as you can see, it's seamless. He really did a fantastic job on this conversion. He used two of the Team Rafico XJs to make this body. You can see it's pretty much stock up until this point right here. And then everything beyond that is sort of modified in a lot of different ways. His styrene work is always really clean and really smooth. And it looks pretty much factory. You wouldn't be able to tell that this wasn't how this truck was supposed to come. I mean, other than its exceedingly long length. Anyway, so that's where this is going, which is really exciting. The guys at Vanquish actually sent me a tester kit for the 6x6. These are the new Incision SCX-10.2 UMG 6x6 link kit. Not quite yet available for purchase, but I will be testing it, making sure all those links are the right length. Yeah, and then we're kind of gonna go from there. There's a lot of things that I want to do. Notably, it would be really nice to do an interior, because maybe this truck is meant to transport surfboards or something. I don't know. We're definitely going to change out wheels and tires. We're going to get it a little bit lower, a little more stock-ish looking. I think I'm going to do the RC four-wheel drive Wrangler Duratrax. It's a nice small 1.9 tire, so that'll scale to an 18-inch wheel. They do make, RC four-wheel drive, CC Hand, do make some really great stock XJ wheels. They're out of stock, of course, but I think they would look really slick on this build. I'm going to try to get my hand on 3 sets of them. Anyway, that's sort of where the project sits right now. Super easy conversion. I really hope that Dan offers these as stock because it's really nice to see an AR44 portal axle, especially for builds like this or custom builds or other Unimogs or guys that are getting into Unimogs. I think they're a really super cool looking truck and definitely deserve to have a realistic axle underneath them. So there you have it, XJ 6x6 coming soon. Much more work to be done. If you guys have any ideas on a color, and try to go back and look at Google and see what stock XJ colors were for this era, I want to try to keep it as realistic in that regard as possible. So give me some ideas on color. Post your comments down below. You know I love reading through your feedback, and I try to answer as many of them as I can. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you get updates anytime there's a new video from the Scale Builders Guild. I'd like to thank Axial for sending along the 6x6, Dan at Beef Tubes for giving me a big hand on these axles, RC 4-Wheel Drive for making and sending me the portal boxes, and Richard for making this incredible abomination. I hope you'll stay tuned and check out more updates on this as they come along. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.